You wake up. Your stomach growls. You think about breakfast. You assume your ancestors were starving all the time, scrounging for every calorie they could find, eating whenever food appeared. But the real answer is far stranger. Ancient humans weren't the desperate hunters we imagine. They were selective, strategic. And here's what surprises most people. They often chose not to eat even when food was available. For decades, anthropologists believed prehistoric life was nothing but relentless hunger. That idea came from a place that made sense. Modern Western life is built on the assumption that food scarcity is the default human condition. So we assumed our ancestors lived in constant survival mode. But in the 1960s, a researcher named Marshall Sahlins started looking at actual data from contemporary hunter-gatherer societies. What he found changed everything. These groups, the people of the Kalahari, Aboriginal Australians, Pacific Islanders, didn't spend their days in frantic search for food. Many of them worked, on average, between 15 and 20 hours per week for their subsistence needs. That's less than a modern part-time job. The rest of their time was leisure, sleep, socializing, ceremony, art. So when did they eat? Not 3 times a day like you do. Not even 2. The pattern that emerged across multiple studies was far more irregular. Some days, a kill meant abundance. A feast. Everyone ate deeply. Other days, gathered plants and occasional small game meant a single substantial meal, usually in the evening when the hunt or gathering was done. Sometimes multiple days passed with just one eating window. Your body, remember, wasn't designed for the breakfast-lunch-dinner rhythm. It was designed for this. Periods of plenty followed by periods of lean. Here's where it gets interesting. You probably think this sounds like deprivation, suffering. But the skeletal evidence tells a different story. Early human bones show fewer signs of malnutrition than you might expect. Growth patterns were generally healthy. Life expectancy, once you survived childhood, was often longer than historians once thought. Which raises a question. If ancient humans ate less frequently than you do, why weren't they weaker, sicker, more desperate? The answer lies in how your metabolism works. Your body isn't a car that needs constant fuel. It's more like a hybrid system with a battery. When you eat, your digestive system breaks down food into glucose. That glucose powers your immediate needs. But here's the part most people miss. Excess glucose gets stored as glycogen in your liver and muscles. When that glycogen runs out, usually after about 12 to 16 hours without food, your body switches to a different fuel source. Fat. Your ancestors didn't have a problem with this switch. Their bodies were exquisitely adapted to it. In 2019, a team led by anthropologist Herman Pontzer published research on the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies. His data showed something remarkable. The Hadza burned roughly the same number of calories per day as sedentary modern humans. Not fewer, the same. But here's the crucial difference. They got those calories in irregular chunks. A successful hunt might provide 2,000 calories in one sitting. Then nothing for a day or two except gathered plant food. Their bodies shifted between fed and fasted states constantly. And crucially, they never developed insulin resistance. They never developed metabolic dysfunction. Compare that to your life. You eat breakfast. Your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas releases insulin. 2 hours later, you're hungry again because the insulin worked so efficiently that it pulled too much glucose out of your bloodstream. So you eat a snack, then lunch, then a snack, then dinner. Your body never truly finishes digesting one meal before another one arrives. Your insulin is constantly elevated. Your cells gradually stop responding to it as effectively. That's insulin resistance. That's the foundation of metabolic disease. Another researcher, Staffan Lindeberg, spent years studying the Kitava people of Papua New Guinea, a population that had minimal contact with modern food until the 1990s. What did he find? No obesity, no diabetes, no heart disease, no hypertension, despite eating plenty of carbohydrates, root vegetables, coconut, fish. The difference wasn't what they ate. It was when and how often they ate it. They ate once, sometimes twice a day. Their bodies had time to fully process, to rest, to reset. Your ancestors didn't eat once a day because food was scarce. They ate once a day, or sometimes even less frequently, because their bodies were designed for it. Because it worked. Your distant relatives could go extended periods without eating and feel fine. Alert. Energized even. Not because they were suffering, but because their metabolic machinery was built for exactly this rhythm. Your ancestors experienced this constantly. A morning without food wasn't suffering. It was activation. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, focus, and complex thought, actually performs better in a fasted state. A study from Yale University in 2022 found that fasting triggers the release of a protein called FGF21, which enhances cognitive function and metabolic flexibility. Your brain literally works better when it's not digesting, when it's not managing the constant blood sugar roller coaster that modern eating creates. But there's more. Your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive tract, also evolved under these feast and famine conditions. When you eat constantly, certain bacterial populations thrive while others die off. The diversity of your microbiome shrinks. And microbiome diversity is linked to everything: your immune function, your mood, your metabolism, even your susceptibility to disease. Your ancestors' irregular eating patterns maintained a rich, diverse gut ecosystem. Your 3 meals a day is starving certain species of bacteria while overfeeding others. You're creating an imbalance that your body has no evolutionary experience handling. And then there's this. Your relationship with hunger itself has become pathologized. You're afraid of it. You've been taught that hunger is an emergency, a sign that something is wrong, that you need to fix it immediately. But for 99% of human history, hunger was just information. It was a signal, not a crisis. Your ancestors felt hunger regularly. They didn't panic. They didn't reach for a protein bar or a coffee with 3 pumps of syrup. They simply waited. They knew food would come. And when it did, they ate well, deeply, with satisfaction. Your body still contains this ancient knowledge. But modern life has convinced you to ignore it. So here's where this circles back to your life right now. You sit at your desk. It's 10 in the morning. You're not actually hungry. You ate 2 hours ago. But there's a culture of snacking around you. Coffee breaks, mid-morning treats, the assumption that you need constant fuel. And you feel vaguely anxious if you're not eating on schedule. That anxiety isn't a sign of weakness or poor willpower. It's a sign that your modern environment is fighting against 10,000 years of human design. Your body is adapted for something your life no longer provides. Some of you reading this might recognize something else. You might notice that you feel oddly energized when you skip breakfast, that you focus better mid-morning when you're not full, that you have more mental clarity after a longer period without food. You've probably felt guilty about this, assumed something was wrong with you. But you're not broken. You're experiencing what your ancestors experienced as the default. You're touching your own ancient wiring. The modern obsession with frequent eating isn't based on biology. It's based on marketing. The processed food industry needs you to eat constantly to survive. So they've convinced you that breakfast is the most important meal, that you need snacks every 2 hours, that skipping meals is dangerous. But the evidence suggests the opposite. The evidence suggests that your body thrives with irregularity, with periods of genuine rest, with time between eating where your digestive system can fully process, where your metabolism can shift gears, where your brain can access the clarity that comes from a fasted state. You don't have to eat once a day. Your modern life probably doesn't support that. But you might notice something if you experiment. If you push your first meal back an hour or 2. If you go without snacking for an afternoon. If you give your body permission to feel hungry without immediately fixing it. You might discover that hunger isn't an emergency. It's just information. Ancient information. A signal that your body knows exactly what to do with. Your ancestors didn't eat once a day because they were starving. They ate once a day because it worked. Because their bodies were built for it. Because in the rhythm of feast and famine, their minds sharpened, their metabolisms adapted, their microbiomes thrived. And even though your world has changed completely, food is everywhere, constant, always available. Your body hasn't. It's still waiting for you to remember how to listen to it, how to trust the hunger, how to understand that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to simply wait.